Hey guys, um, good night. Welcome to another one of my videos. We'll be working through this topology here. All right, we're going to be following this lab guide, and we're going to follow it as closely as possible and work our way through to the end. Right. If you've never been to this channel before, welcome. If you have been to this channel before, I hope you have subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please like and subscribe and just keep looking out for more videos. So, we're going to dig right in, right? So if you look at the topology here, it presents two PCs and two switches, switch 1 and switch 2, PCA and PCB, right? So we see we're using some SVIs here, which is switch virtual interface VLAN 1 and switch 1, VLAN 1 and switch 2, and the different IPs are associated here with the subnet mask, and we also see PC1, the IP addresses that are assigned to it, so on and so forth. So we see here we're going to be building the network, we're going to create the VLANs, we're going to complete the VLAN port assignment and VLAN database, and configure trunking, right? So let's kind of just start through here. You could pause the video and read through the scenarios here, and let's go down here. So again, we have set up the topology, which is what it's asking you to do here. And step one, we're going to work through the basic setup. So from the desktop, go to terminal. In this case, we're using packet traces, so we don't need to do that. So we're just going to go to each switch and assign it a name. So if we go to switch 1 over here, we're going to go to CLI, and we do enable config T. And for those of you who are taking CCNA classes with me, you'll be able to just follow along again here and just work your way through it. For those who are not taking classes with me, it's okay. You can just leave your comments and I'll try to respond to all comments and provide you with any clarification that you need. Right. So I do hope you find this to be informative. Right. So the name that we're going to assign here is based on the name that's on the topology. So we see that switch 1. So I could type host name S1. And here it says assign a privileged exec password of class. So in this case, we're going to say enable password, and I'm sorry guys, enable password, and it's going to be class. You know what, I'm just going to do capital S class. And so the console password here, assign Cisco as a console password and assign Cisco as the VTY password. Okay, so let's do that. So now if I do show run, notice you see the enable password is in clear text, right? So one of the things that they did ask you to do here is to encrypt it, right? So we'll get to that point, but I just wanted to call that out, right here. All right, let me just turn my thing off here. All right, so let's just break there. So now one of the things that we could do is, I like to just do this, username, admin, password, Cisco, right? And now we're going to assign, just going to say line console 0. And here I could say login local. So what I just did, I just created a username, right? And the username that I created is admin, is the username, and I associated with the password Cisco. The document is saying here use Cisco all lowercase. I just use Cisco with a capital letter. I'm just used to doing that. And I'm saying down here, hey, when you're trying to log in from the console screen, right, reference the local database. So look for a user and look for the password. If the username and the password matches, then let them in, right? And look, I'm in the console context here, right? So to get out of that, I'll do exit, and notice that it changes. Just go back in global config, and here I'll go line VTY. That's virtual terminal or virtual teletype. right? Let's say I do 0 to 4. And in here, I could say login. I'm saying login local, right? I'm saying login local again. Reference the local database for the username and password that I provide to you, right? And if I do that, look, right now I'm at the console. So imagine I walked up to the console of your PC. If it's a Windows PC, you hit enter, it pops up, it gives you a prompt for username and password. This is going to be no different. It's saying, hey, Norwin, I'm trying to get in here. Provide me with a username and password. So the username that we created was admin, and the password that we provided was Cisco with a capital C, and boom, it lets us in, right? So now we're at the user exec mode. The user exec mode. So again, to get from the console to the user exec mode, we presented it with a console password. Now, to get in to privilege exec mode, we type enable, and now it's saying, hey, you have actually enabled a privilege exec password. So present me with that. So the one that we enabled was class. So we type class in, and now we're in privilege exec mode. You see how that works? Right? So again, we provide the console password, we provided the enable password, right? And the VTY password is if we're connecting to it over IP to manage the router. But later on, I'll show you that. So now, if I were to go in, I'm on the wrong screen. Let me get back over here. If I were to go, right, let me just clear that off, guys. Sorry. All right, I just removed it. So if I were to go here and do show run, right, notice my enable password is in clear text. My username is also in clear text, right? So it says encrypted. So you see this here? It says no service password encryption. This is the default setting. So it's saying any service password that you have, do not encrypt the password. Show it to me in clear text. So now here in the lab, it's saying please encrypt that. So to encrypt that, what we'll do is we'll go into service password encryption. Right? Notice it's there in the operating system by default. Default config is do not encrypt. And here I'm just overriding that by saying service password encryption. Notice I'm not doing the no before it to negate it. So if I hit enter, once I hit enter, if I do show run, in a previous video, I told you guys what the do is for. The do is pretty much to say, hey, I'm not in privilege exec mode. Put me in privilege exec mode without me needing to go there. Anyway, if I do that and show, look, the password that was showing in clear text up here, it's now encrypted. And the same thing goes for this. That's what that means. Okay. All right. So we're making good so far. So let me just go down here now and see what we're being asked to do. So here on switch 1, we're going to be creating these VLANs. So if I go here and switch 1, it says, hey, create VLAN 10. I just created VLAN 10. It says name it. All right, before I do that, let me just do Control C. Show VLAN brief. Right, look, the VLAN 10 that we just created is showing up here, but no other VLANs are showing. We're going to be creating VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 99, and VLAN 1000. Okay, so that's what we're going to create it. By default, just like in previous videos, I'm showing you all ports belong to VLAN 1. VLAN 1000 to 1005 are created by default as a part of the operating system. I just created VLAN 10 before I started showing you guys around. So let me go back into global config mode, and I'm going to get back in VLAN 10. And from VLAN 10, I'm going to name it, and it says to name it operations. Right, and here I'm going to do VLAN 20. I'm going to name it parking lot underscore lot. Pardon me. All right, and we're going to say VLAN 99 name it management, and we're going to say VLAN 1000, and we're going to name it native. All right, so that's it. We've just created these VLANs. And now, look, the same command that I ran here previously, that's what it's telling you. Show VLAN brief. So again, we go show VLAN brief. And we're looking, it's showing us all the VLANs that we just created. So now, this is the verification that we're looking now. And here we see operations, we see parking lot, we see everything else, right? And now what we're doing is we're going into the port that PC A is connected in, and we're setting that port to access mode, and we're also setting the VLAN to VLAN 10. So let's look at that before. If we go show interface FA0/6, switch port, look, by default, it is in a what? Dynamic desirable. That's what it's set to. Administrative mode is set to dynamic auto, not dynamic desirable. Dynamic auto, and right now it's operating as an access port, right? So in here, we're going to go config T interface FA0/1. We're going to say switch port mode access. So I'm saying, hey, regardless of what's happening, right, FA0/6, switch port. I'm saying, regardless of what's happening, I want you to operate as an access port, right? Want you to operate as an access port. And here, I am going to say here, switch port access VLAN 10. Oh, so I did VLAN 110 instead of VLAN 10. Let's go back and do VLAN 10. So I made that error there. And look, show VLAN brief, and you'll see that extra VLAN there. So I did a boo-boo here, created VLAN 110. We're going to delete that. We're going to say no VLAN 110. Right, so if I go back in, show VLAN brief, right, 110 is gone. I'm going to do WR to save. Now, so we just created VLAN 10, right? We put port 6 into VLAN 10. So when I go back here, I could go back into interface FA0/6. And inside here, I'm going to say switch port mode access. I'm going to say switch port access VLAN 10. Right? And if I do this show VLAN brief, I see here that VLAN 10, it does have fast Ethernet 6 and fast Ethernet 0/1. Therefore, I screwed up before because I put fast Ethernet 0/1 in there, and it should not be in there, right? So this should have actually been switch port access VLAN 1, right? So if we look here, do show VLAN brief, notice, right, only fast Ethernet 6 is in VLAN 10. Everything else is in VLAN 1, right? And we're showing the show commands that we have here, okay? Now I'm going to go on switch 2 and do the same thing. So let's go over to switch 2. So on switch 2 here, go into the command line, CLI, do config T, and let's do it. On switch 2, we're going to say host name is equal to S2, right? Let's see on switch 2 where we are. We let's see where we start down here to do switch 2. All right, so pretty much everything that we did on switch 1, we must do it on switch 2 also. All right, I wanted to make sure that we are following we're following everything step by step, right? Assign interfaces on switch 1. So on switch 2, we need to create the same configs, right? So on switch 2, we're going to be creating, if I go back over here and take a look, we're going to be creating what? VLAN 10, name, operations, exit, VLAN 20, name, parking lot, exit. You don't need to exit, by the way. VLAN 99, name, management. Right now, I could just do VLAN 1000, name, native. All right, that's on switch 2. On switch 2, I need to go into port 18. If I look at the topology over here, I need to go into port 18. So in switch 2, interface FA 0/18, I'm saying switch port access VLAN, VLAN 10, switch port mode access. Right, and I save it. And on switch 2, all right. So now let's take a look here. Show VLAN brief. All right, so we see the VLAN brief, that's going on there, right? So we see all the VLANs that we created on switch 1 is here. We can see also all the VLAN that we created on switch 2 is here. And if you look, fast Ethernet 06 is in VLAN 10, and fast 18 is in VLAN 10 also. All right, so let's continue. All right, so let's review our work, right? So if we look at our work that we've done, it's saying here, create VLAN on switches. So we created VLAN 10, we created VLAN 20, VLAN 99, VLAN 1000. It says create the same VLAN and VLAN on switch 2, and we did that, right? We also did the show VLAN brief command to verify that we have created, what we have created is showing up, and you see those are highlighted there, and we also have highlighted them here. I also went ahead and I associated the ports that the PC are plugged into to the appropriate VLAN, right? So we have done that, and this is where we're taking care of this down here. And one of the things that we need to do now is on switch, on the switches, we need to assign the SVI, right, an IP address, okay? So one of the thing is, in a previous lab, it's saying here, hey, remove the management IP address that's configured on interface VLAN 1, but in our case, we did not have it there. Matter of fact, if we wanted to do it just for practice, we could actually go in and take a look, show IP interface brief. And if we do that, we'll see all our interfaces here, and we scroll down, including VLAN 1. Notice VLAN 1 is administratively down. It's shut down. It's never been turned on. We can look at it by doing show run. And if we get down to the bottom here, we see that VLAN 1 is off. What we could do, if it were assigned there, then it would be like this. Interface VLAN 1, IP address is 192.168.1.11, 255.255.255.0, and we do no shot, right? In this case, it was not there in our case, right? So we don't have to do the no IP address here. But again, for practice sake, we're in there. We could do show. Let's do show run, and we'll see it there. So this is what on VLAN 1 that we just configured, right? So if we wanted to remove that, we'd have to say no IP address and hit enter. And we could go here, do show run. And if we do show run, we'd see that there's no IP address here, right? And if they're saying configure this on VLAN 99, we'd go in interface VLAN 99, right? We'd say IP address 192.168.1.11, 255.255.255.0, and we have configured it. Now, if we have configured it, notice what it's saying here. What's the status of VLAN 1? What do we expect for it to be? We expect for it to be down. And let me show you why. Show IP interface. Show IP interface brief. Right? Look, VLAN 99 is configured. There's an SVI created there. The IP address is assigned, but notice it says down. Right? That is for a VLAN interface to be up and running on your switch, that VLAN must be associated with a port that has something plugged in it. In our case here, there's nothing plugged into VLAN 99, right? So how can we fix this? This is only going to come up once we have converted the port into a trunk port, right? So let's look at it here. The port VLAN, when you convert a port into a trunk port, what is a trunk port? A trunk port is a port that is configured to carry traffic for multiple VLAN. An access port is a port that is configured to carry traffic for a single VLAN. So that's an access port. So if we show here, show run, show interface trunk, there are no ports configured as a trunk port. So if we go into config T interface FA0/1, we could say switch port mode trunk. Look at what's going to happen. The moment we do that, right, we are turning this into a trunk port. It's going to form trunking with S switch 2, and all the VLANs are going to be associated with the trunk. Hence, this VLAN 99, I'm expecting it to change from down to up on the protocol. Watch this. See? It changes from down to up, right? So if we look at it there, now if we go back in and run the command that we looked at previously, show VLAN brief, notice it's saying it's up. Because if we go back and we run the same command that we looked at previously, right? Control 6. Yeah, this is timing out. All right, let's just wait for this timeout here. Control. All right. All right, let's this timeout here, guys, and I'm going to show you how to turn that off. All right, so if you look here, what it was trying to do is, right, I kind of fat finger something, for lack of a better term, and what it was doing, it was trying to resolve it, do a complete DNS resolution, right? So to avoid that from happening, we could type in IP domain lookup, right? So really control A gets you to the start, and you put no IP domain lookup, right? So what happens if I fat finger something in the future and hit enter? It doesn't try to resolve it. It just gets out of that right away. Okay, so I popped that in there. So if you notice though, VLAN 99 is now showing up. and it has the appropriate IP address assigned to it, right? And it's saying here, hey Norwin, on switch 1, what you should do is, put a on this range of port, fast Ethernet 1 through 11, put that in VLAN 99 and change it to access port, right? So on switch 1, we could easily do that. We could go to config T, interface range, right? And I could say FA0 /11 all the way to 24. And we're going to set it to switch port mode access. And we're going to say switch port access VLAN 99, right? That's what we just put that in. And the same thing we need to do on, switch 2, right? Yeah, so we'll need to go to switch 2 and do the same thing. Again, this is not needed to complete the lab for ping to be able to go from one PC to the other or from switch 1 to switch 2. Pretty much, we're just showing you the behavior of the operating system. So now, if we go show VLAN brief, right? Look, all these ports that I've assigned from VLAN, from fast Ethernet 11 to 24, they're now under VLAN 99. So what if I went back in and I said, you know what? This port here, range, which is the port range is interface range fast Ethernet 11 to 24. And I remember I did switch port access VLAN 99. So what if we did no switch port access VLAN 99, right? So pretty much we're removing VLAN 99 from these ports. If I go back in and do show VLAN brief, well, all these ports should have been disassociated from VLAN 99 and should be back under VLAN 1. And so that's what we expect, and that's what we see. One of the things that we could do if we say VLAN 30, right? If VLAN 30 isn't there, VLAN 30 isn't there right now, and what did it do? Show VLAN brief. It created VLAN 30, right? It created VLAN 30. If we go into interface FA 0/24, and I say switch port access VLAN 33, VLAN 33 is not there, but look at what it's going to do. It created VLAN 33, right? Just because I'm in the interface config, I type switch port access VLAN 33, which is not there. So because it's not in the database, what it did, it actually created VLAN 33. So if I go show VLAN brief, right, I see VLAN 33 was created and port 24 was placed in it. And I could say no switch port, right, no switch port VLAN 33. I'm sorry, no switch port access VLAN 33. And of course, it's almost 12 p.m. I'm getting tired. That's why I'm fat fingering these things. So show VLAN brief. Right? VLAN 33 is still there, but notice the port association is gone. If I wanted to get rid of VLAN 33, I said no VLAN 33 and show VLAN 33. I'm sorry, do show VLAN brief. It's gone. Right? So all you're learning to do is just manipulating the VLAN database on the config. All right, so let's go back to the topology here. Ultimately, what we want to do is want to make sure that all the VLANs that are on, do show VLAN brief on switch 1 is also on switch 2. So let's go on switch 2 over here. So if we go again, if I do show VLAN brief on switch 2, I see the VLANs that are there. I see VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 99, VLAN 1000. I see the ports that are associated with it. That looks good, right? And one of the things that we need to do, remember on switch 1, what we did was we created a username, we call it admin, right? We give it a password, Cisco, and now we also set console that when it logs in. Notice, if I am on switch 2 and I log all the way out, once I hit enter, it doesn't ask for a password, it put me in the user exec mode, right? And here I type enable, it doesn't ask me for a password, it puts me in privileged exec mode. And if I do config T, it takes me right into global config mode. So one of the things that we need to do is to set a password on enable. So the enable password that it asks us to set is class. So enable password is class, right? And we also needed to create a user. So username, in this case, we said we want it to be admin, and password, we want it to be Cisco, right? And we get out of here. Now we go back into config T. We go line console, right, 0, and I say login local, right? So now, if I go here and exit, now when I'm trying to get back in, it says, Norwin, what's your username? I said, my username is admin, and what's the password? Class, and did I type class right? Oh, okay. Admin, class, I know I screwed up, CLASS, admin. Yeah, so something is screwed up here. Oh, so it gives me an opportunity to show you. Notice when I put this information in here, login console, and I put the password in, right, what I didn't do, I didn't save it. So now I know what it is anyway. I think I know what it is. I think it's admin, and then I put Cisco. All right, so that's what it is. But anyway, because I didn't save it, guys, look at what's going to happen. If I come over here to switch 2, and now that I'm in it, I do enable, and I say class, all right, enable, class, right? I could reload, and if I reload and don't save, everything that I did previously is all gone. Look, at all the configs that I did, you guys will be able to see when it reboots. Because if I didn't save it, it would have been gone, right? So if I go back over here, let me go back up and see how far up I could go. All right, now it's probably gone off. It's gone off the memory. But let me go in here and take a look at least some of what I did. Show VLAN brief. Okay, that's still there, right? And yeah, that's still there, the port. But if I go show run, there's no user, there's no enable password, nothing is there. Great. So if I go config T again, I do username, admin, password. Password is Cisco, capital Cisco, right? And if I get out, I'm going to say enable, password is class, hit enter. If I do show run, right, it shows me it in clear text. So what I need to do, I need to say here, password, I need to say service password encryption, and it popped that in there. So if I go back and do show run, notice the password are there still, but it's encrypted. Now if I go and I say line, notice if I go here and I exit, it gives me the desktop. The moment I hit enter, it put me into what? User exec mode. I type enable. It asks me for my password. It's class. I'm in there, but I could do line console 0 login local, right? And then I say line VTY 0 to 4 login local, right? And then I get out of here. The moment I get out of here and I click exit, and I go back in and says, hey, Norwin, you're trying to get in? I say, yeah, man. He said, put the username in. I say, admin, and the password is Cisco, right? And then I do enable, and so the password is class, and now I'm inside there, right? So I can save it. So I have this set on both switch 1 and switch 2. Now, a trunk port, fast Ethernet 1 and fast Ethernet 1 over here, and switch 1 and switch 2 needs to be set as a trunk port, right? So what we're going to do is go into interface FA 0/1. I'm going to say switch port mode is trunk, right? And over here in switch 1, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say class config T. Sorry, so I that was probably outside of the recording screen. So I do config T here, and inside here I'm going to go interface FA 0/1 switch port mode trunk, right? So now it is operating as a trunk port. If I do show interface trunk, it's telling me this is operating as a trunk mode, and notice all ports are going across it. All ports are allowed, right, across this trunk. And notice the same mode is on, and it's encapsulation.1Q. That's IEEE standard, right? And if I go over here, the same thing is for switch 2. I could do show interface trunk, do show interface trunk, right? And the same thing is true. So as a result of that, I could actually assign IP addresses on these PCs here. PC1 IP address is IP address is 192.168. That's PC8.10.3, 255.255.255.0, and default gateway is 192.168.10.1. And if we go over to PCB, PCB, if I do PCB over here, then I could go to desktop, go to IP address, and the IP address of PCB is 192.168.10.4, 255, and it's 192.168.10.1, right? So notice before I did this, right? So if I go back into config T and interface FA 0/1 switch port mode access, and if I go over on switch 2 and I did the same thing, interface FA 0/1 switch port mode access, right? So now it's on access. They're both in access mode, right? Notice if I try to go to PC1 or PCA, as I do here, and I say ipconfig on PCA, ipconfig, I'm looking at my IP address that's assigned on PCA, and I can see it. It's assigned 192.168.10.3, and I can ping myself 192.168.10.3. So I know the TCP/IP stack is working properly in PCA. So now if I go to ping, if I go and I ping 192.168.10.4, which is PCB, so in essence, I'm trying to ping across here. If I try to ping across here right now, get my pencil, no deuces, right? So look here, no deuces, right? If I ping, is it pinging? It's not supposed to be pinging. Let me check to see why it's pinging. Am I pinging 3? Okay, because I was pinging itself. I want to ping 4, right? It's not pinging. Because right now, this is set up as an access port, and this is set up as an access port. And one is in VLAN what? One is in VLAN 10, one is in VLAN 10, but this is set up as an access port. When I say this, I mean fast Ethernet 1 on switch 1 and fast Ethernet 1 and switch 2 are set up as access port, and they by default are a part of VLAN 1. When this PC here, right, is actually in a totally different VLAN. It's in VLAN 10 and VLAN 10, right? And also, if I try to ping, from this switch to this switch, which is 11 and 12, it will not work. Let's go in and configure it, and let me show you that it won't work. All right. So if I go back and look at the switch, so let's look at the switch again, guys. If I say show IP interface brief, all right. If I ping the switch itself, ping 192.168.1.11, right? I'm pinging myself. As long as this is saying down, right? It's down. Again, the reason it's down simply because there are no ports that are in VLAN VLAN 99, so it will never come in line. A matter of fact, if I wanted to come up, I could just grab a PC from here. Put a PC on the canvas, plug it into the network, right? And let's say I plug it in port 20. If I plug it in port 20 and I go on this switch, config T, interface, VLAN, interface FA0/20, and say switch port access VLAN 99, then look what happens. VLAN 99 protocol changed to online. So when I go back and look at this, it will not say down, it will say up. Right? So if I go here and I say now ping 192.168.1.11, it will now ping. See, it's pinging because there's a device that's plugged into it, so the interface is up, so the line protocol now comes out, right? So if you look here again, it's pinging. The moment I disconnect from it and there's nothing plugged in there, it's no longer going to work. Ping doesn't work anymore, right? And when I go over to switch 2, and I'm taking a look at switch 2, we need to also configure it, by the way. And this is it for switch 2. Let's look at switch 2. It's saying switch 2 should be 12. So if I go interface VLAN 99, IP address is 192.168.1.12.255.255.255.255.0, right? Again, the same thing is going to be true. If I do show IP interface brief, right, we'll see that the VLAN is up, but the line protocol is down. Holds true. Again, if we take this device and plug it in over here, look at what's going to happen, right? All we have to do, that's the beauty of fact tracer, right? Or virtualization, network virtualization. I could just come over here, grab this, plug it from here, plug it in any port on the switch, and once I plug it in any port on the switch, the moment this port goes into the correct VLAN, right? So that's switch number 2. If I have to go config T, and what port is plugged into port 2? Interface FA0/2, switch port, access, VLAN 99, boom, it comes up, right? And now I should be able to ping what? Do ping 192.168.1.12. And there you go. But notice I can't ping 11. I can't ping across there. The reason is, again, this is an access port, and it's actually in VLAN 1, right? So we could go and take a look at it. We could say show VLAN brief, and we'll notice port 1 is in VLAN 1. And this is in, Of course, the SVI, which is a switch virtual interface, the port that we just configured over here, it's called an SVI. Let me write it out for you guys to see it. It's an SVI. It's a switch virtual interface, right? You know, uh, it is in VLAN 99. It's associated with VLAN 99. And this port over here is associated with VLAN 1. So what do we have to do to fix that? First, we don't need this, right? So we can just disconnect this. How do we do that? Let me go over here. And I'm going to come up here and say, hey, we don't need you anymore, sir or ma'am. We don't need you anymore. So you're disconnected. Thank you very much. And you notice that now VLAN, this SVI went down, right? What we need to do is just to convert these. Again, let me get my pointy tool. We just need to convert fast Ethernet 01 and fast Ethernet 01 in both switches to trunk port RU and K. And once we convert them to trunk port, the VLANs will come up and they'll be able to ping. And also the PCs will be able to ping. Because once they're converted to trunk port, which VLANs would be coming across here? Well, all the VLANs, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 99, VLAN 1000. All of them will be allowed across here. All right, well, let's just take a look and try it out. All right, so let me get rid of the pointy tool here. And I'm going to go to switch 1. Let's start from 1. So I go config T. I go interface FA0/1, which is what connects switch 1 to switch 2. And I'm going to say switch port mode trunk. The moment I did that, it changes into a trunk port. And if I do show interface trunk, it shows me which ports are operating as trunk. There's only one port that's configured to operate as a trunk port, and that's fast Ethernet 01. Again, we're going to go over to switch 2, show interface trunk on switch 2. No ports are configured to perform as a trunk, so I go config T. I go interface FA0/1, because that's the port connecting to switch 1, and I go switch port mode trunk. Now it's performed as a trunk, right? So both of them are performed as a trunk. Now, so if we take a look here in this switch, show IP interface brief, we will see that 99 is up. That's 11. And we do the same thing over here. Do show IP interface brief. We'll see that 99 is up. So now I could say that I could ping 192.168.1.11 from here. And the first one is ARP. It might drop. And then it's supposed to eventually start pinging. See, it's pinging now, and I could ping 12. Right? And I could do the opposite from over in switch 1. I could ping 192.168.1.11, which is myself. And I could also ping 12, which is myself, and boom, it will work. Right? Because it's going across the trunk link. And I could also now go to PCB. And from PCB, if I go to the command line and type, what is my IP address? I type ipconfig, right? And hit enter. I could see my IP address. My IP address is 192.168.10.4. So again, 192.168.10.4. I could ping myself. And I could also ping the other PC, which is across the way, which is 10.3. And here we go. All right. So, man, we've done a lot of goodness here, right? This video is chock full of goodness. Before I actually close it out, let me just close that there, and let me just see. Let's just do this. So if I were to take a look at this, right, I could just easily go and say, if I go to PDUs, I could just grab this packet here, this packet over here, and then go to simulation, and I should be able to say, hey, do a simulation. It goes here, it comes across, and it comes down. And we see that it works. All right. So let me delete that. So guys, if you take a look here, right, what have we done? We have created, configured the SVIs in switch 1, configured SVI in switch 2. We have actually created VLANs in switch 1, created VLANs in switch 2. We have assigned IP addresses. to PCA, PCB. We've configured trunk ports. We've configured access port. We have configured access to the switch. That is, we have created a username and password in the database. We've actually created enable password. We've protected the switch from the console. That is, when you hit that space bar on the console, it pops up login prompt, which further provides protection for your switch, right? So you have to provide a username and password to get in. To get into privileged exec mode, you also have to provide a password. So, you know, we did a lot of things in this lab, right? You know, so what I want you guys to do, again, just kind of go it over. If you have any questions, you know, always ping me on it. I'll be more than happy to help you with it. All right. I hope you enjoyed it, and just stay tuned for more. All right. Thank you guys for watching.